Go power.
Oh yeah, rock and roll, baby.
Hi.
Hi, Eva. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for agreeing to do this little interview. Why don't you introduce yourself to the viewers?
I'm GIGI GROMBACHER. I'm a singer-songwriter from Los Angeles.
Stream Gigi's debut EP, Virgin Tears.
I thought I was the girl that you wanna take home. I thought you'd hold me close so I'd never be alone. I thought you were the guy who would never make me cry. And now I'm just a fool who you're leaving high and dry. Oh, 2 words mean nothing.
My first question is, do you produce your own music?
No, I don't produce myself, but if I knew then what I know now, I would definitely have started to learn production a lot earlier.
Do you feel like because you don't produce, there's like a gap in knowledge between you and the producer?
I just think that it would have been very beneficial early on to be able to articulate how I wanted something to sound to the producer, because there's definitely been like a little bit of a gap, especially when I was, just starting out. Now I've kind of learned how to tell them, but I still think, especially as an artist, you want to be able to tell somebody exactly how you want something to sound. Otherwise, your sound is kind of molded by them and not just by you.
And then
So
you have control of it.
Exactly. So I think the more control that you can have, especially as an artist and as a writer, totally. But I think it is really important, number one, to be able to communicate, and number two, if you can just do it yourself, like that's so sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome. What is your ultimate goal in the music industry?
So my goal, first of all, has always been to be an artist. The writing then kind of just fell into my lap unexpectedly, but I want to be able to do this as like a full-time job forever. I've had to have side hustles like a couple times in my career here. I've been a gymnastics coach. I've been a vet. I've like a vet tech. I've been, there was one other like really weird job that I had that I can think of now, but it was all things where I was like, wow, I really don't want to have to do something else. You know what I mean? So that's definitely a goal. And I mean, I know it's probably what everybody says when you ask, but just to tour the world doing music and connecting with people. And then if we think really long term, I've always wanted to like use any sort of money that I get from this. Like I really want to like open schools and teach music and just give people a way to have access to like a really great music program and really great mentors. Because I always like struggled, with money. I'm so grateful to have such an incredible family who is so supportive, but it is really hard when you don't have like a super safety net. And so with, I wanted to be able, music should be for everybody. Art should be for everybody. You know what I mean?
That's so cool that you would want to like open your own music program at schools.
Totally.
So education in music is something that's very important to you?
Yeah, I mean, and I always loved kids, so I have always had a passion for children, and I have done some work, charity work, and I worked with Actors for Autism for a while, and that was amazing. I do stuff with the LA Mission now. That is very, very, very important for me because, like I said, art and music should be accessible to everybody, and I'm very firm in that belief. So I want everyone to have access to a great education. Like I was so lucky to have that, and I totally acknowledge like my privilege in that. And I want to do anything that I can to help like bridge the gap.
Have you ever experienced any gender inequity or discrimination because you're a female in the music industry?
So the first time that I understood that there was like some sort of inequality there was when I was in college. Actually, I went to USC. USC was fantastic. I was in Thornton School of Music in a pop program, and part of our syllabus was we would get into these bands every week, and we had to learn music from, I think it started with like the 50s, then it went to like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, current, and then we like did our own music eventually. But you would get sort of like a role in the band, and so there'd be like a drummer, a singer, a bassist, blah blah blah, and then one person would be the MD, the musical director, and everybody had to be that. And I was like really nervous to be that, because you have to like write charts, you have to really know everything about the song because you're the one running the rehearsals. And I because I knew that I was already at an advantage, because I wasn't doing like pop music for a very long time. I was doing musical theater stuff before I went to USC. So I didn't have like the background knowledge in like music theory, and I'd never written a chart before. I never really ran a rehearsal. I really did my due diligence, and I worked really hard to know everybody's part and what everyone was supposed to do. And I had one person that was in my band who was like a guitar player who didn't know his parts at all. And I kept telling him like, blah, 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 that's not right. That's not right. And he would not listen to me. And he just kept turning to like the other bassist who's boy. And he's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm like, I'm telling you right now, like what you're supposed to do. He just like would not listen to it from me. He would only want to hear it from the guy.
Male.
So that was the first time. I was like, oh, that sucks. Okay. And I see it a lot now, especially being an artist, with ageism. Because I have been asked, like my manager has been asked so many times, labels would be like, oh, we love GIGI, like we love her music. How old is she? And like blah, blah, blah. And then they try to throw that in the middle. And we're like, what does that matter? But you don't ask any male artist how old he is, and it's so true. You never ask a male artist how old he is, but of course you care about how old I am, because we have this quote unquote like shelf life. We're valuable at like 16, and I think that's like such an antiquated view of talent and value, and that's something that I just think is so lame. Like I can't stress it enough. So I think that it's very prevalent, and it's super geared towards females.
I've actually like never even thought of that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's I come across it all the time. It's wild. It doesn't make any sense to me, because I don't know why that has any effect on your music or your artistry or your talent, but people care about it for some reason.
That almost seems like when artists start off on like Disney Channel or Nickelodeon, like young, and they get famous young, but because they're so famous, they're still able to be relevant even when they're like 30 something.
Exactly. But it's just like
artists,
I care more about what Miley Cyrus is doing now than when she was 15. She was always so talented. She's amazing. She always deserved to be here. But like, come on, she's a monster. She's amazing. I want to know what she's doing right this second. I don't care how old she is. I've never thought about that. I don't know. It doesn't matter, because she's doing everything, and she's coming from a place of honesty. That's all I care about, So I think if more people cared about the art over the age, I think we would have much better art to look at.
There's a wider variety of knowledge then. If
people totally
write songs when they actually have more experience in life.
I always think about that, and I always said this. I'm like, look, if I was doing this when I was 15, like I had no life experience. I was just like a kid in a private school. Like, what did I know? Like, I had nothing to say at all. And it's like, now I've actually like lived through things, and I've have my own stories, and I've learned from other people. You have so much more to say the more life experience you have. That's not to say that young people don't have true and honest things. I'm just speaking from my own experience.
I definitely feel that a little bit as a 17-year-old.
Yeah. See, they would love you.
So you're a songwriter. So what's your process in writing a song? And as an artist, what messages do you feel is important to say through your music?
So in terms of messages, I don't really think about that. I just sort of come from a place of whatever I'm feeling. So like every time I am gonna go into a session, whether it's for me, it's for some other artist, a pitch session, whatever it is, I only know how to do it from a place of whatever I would say naturally and whatever I think is cool. So like, I'm not going in with anything ahead of time. Some people are really great and they can write down like keep a notebook of like titles or like ideas, and they come into a session, they have ideas.
Yeah.
I don't do that, like ever. I can't. I just don't work like that. And so sometimes when I'm in a session and people are doing that, I'm like, oh my God, you're amazing. Like, thank you. You came in with something today. That's sick. Yeah, I don't, unless there's something like really crazy that happened in my life, or like I just got broken up with or something, I usually don't have anything. There's nothing going on in here when I walk in. And then as soon as we start like playing chords, like getting a vibe, I can be like, okay, I know it's this. Like, this feels like, I can feel like, first I feel like the mood of whatever they're playing. So does this feel happy? Does it feel hopeful? Is it like sexy? Is it sad? Is it yearning? What is it? And then from there, I just will be like, usually, it depends on who else I'm working with, but a lot of times, especially if I'm not working with an artist, I'll just be like, okay, can I just go in the booth and just lay down like anything that comes to my head? I want to like kind of do that right away, because usually the initial melodies are the best ones that just come through organically while I'm hearing the music. Sometimes when you listen to it too much, you think too much and you get in your head. One of the most like important things I feel like that I've learned from songwriting is we think way too much. And it's like a lot of the times the simplest stuff is the right stuff, because everybody gets it and everybody can feel it. And that's like, you know, why we do music. You want to connect, you know? So yeah, I'll just get in and do some melodies. And then after that, go with lyrics. I'm melody first type of person.
So am I.
Yeah. I love melodies.
That way.
They're so important.
Do you feel that like in your writing rooms, it's important to have other female collaborators? I
mean, I love working with other females. I'm a big collaborator. So I'm not really the kind of writer that will just go sit in my house and go to the piano and just start writing. I love the energy between like however many people are in the room, like two, it can be just me and someone else, or like me and three other people, or whatever. That energy is like so cool to me, and it's so special, and it's about that same connection that I have when I go sing it on stage and I'm singing to people. It's that like crazy, like cosmic energy that we're so lucky to be able to experience. So I love that. When you get to do that with another female, it's like even better, because I think it's really important to uplift female voices, and female perspective has always been so interesting, and it's very important to me to have that, especially like when I'm gonna sing the song. I'm like, you know, we're writing it from a female point of view, but even when we're writing from a male point of view, I think sometimes when songs are written from a male point of view, just when it's all males, sometimes things can be like misconstrued. And I think that it's nice to have a female in the room to be like, you know, actually nobody would like to hear that, you know, like we would like to hear I get what you're saying and I know what you mean, but maybe let's phrase it in this way. And, you know, girls are just always right. So,
I mean,
I think that is great. And I've been lucky to write with some incredible, like, female writers. I just put out a song, or I just had a cut with this amazing K-pop group called aespa, and they're all female group. And we wrote a song called Lingo that was on their album. And all the girls were females that wrote it, and the producer was a female. So it was like a totally female done operation. The album went like number 3 here, went number 1 in Korea. It like exploded, and it was just so cool to see that happen. And like, we were all chicks and we killed that, you know?
Yeah, a lot of pride with that song for sure. Girl power.
Oh yeah, rock and roll, baby.
How would you want to, or how would you want future generations to change the music industry?
I think what I can do myself is I always just come from a place of honesty, and I write how I'm truly feeling, and not always to go viral or to appease everybody. I just write what I like, and I think that there's nobility in that. And I mean, back to like the ageism thing too, I think that that's like really something that we gotta throw out the window, because there's been so many, like Sheryl Crow, like I don't quote me on this, but like I think one of her biggest, like her first song that was like a huge hit. She was like 30 years old when she did it. It's like there's so many people who we would be writing off, huge, massive talents that we would have just completely disregarded if we were really just gonna listen to the younger, if we only valued female artists based on how youthful they are. And I just think that that's like really a crazy thing to do. And I always thought that, even when I was younger. I think we need to be done away with like caring about things that aren't the art. It's like, I just want to know, I want to connect with the artists that I'm listening to on like a real like soul level. I don't care about what they look like or how old they are or where they're from or how much money they have. You know, that stuff doesn't matter. I think if we can get back to the art and not get lost in the sauce of physical appearance and viral potential and things like that, I think we could get back to a really like honest music scene.
I know we were talking about ageism, but like, do you have any advice for the younger generation of girls who are interested in music?
Totally. I would say that number one, like, songwriting is very important. So if you don't write, you should try, because I didn't start writing until I graduated college. I got like my first pub deal right out of college. I had no interest in being a songwriter. I had nothing, like no idea about it. I'd say songwriting is important because you should own your publishing. If you don't need the money right away, and you can hold off on your publishing, hold off. I've signed some interesting deals in my day. I was really super privileged and fortunate, and I got to take a music business class in college and sort of learn about some of those contracts, and I didn't really pay attention, so I would say pay attention to that. I also took a Logic and Pro Tools class in college, and I really didn't pay attention to that, and God, do I wish that I would have. Because especially with like COVID and stuff, you never know what's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. And in COVID, if I could have recorded my own vocals and I didn't have to wait for whatever like male engineer was available to help me, would have got shit done a lot faster. And it just sucks to be at like the mercy of somebody else. So the more things that you can learn how to do on your own, the better off you will be 100%. I never listened to music really. It's just like a weird thing about me, but I would say listen. The only music I listen to, I would say, is just like random stuff. So listen to like all different types of music, like all genres, I would say, because you can like hear little things and everything, and that can really train your ear in a really cool way. So you can be able to communicate to producers if you're not the producer. You can be like, I really like that drum groove in this song, and I'm gonna sing a melody like this. So if we can mix this together, I think it would be like a crazy thing. You can really come up with your own sound by taking little bits and pieces from things that are really special. Never give up, man. I know it's cheesy and like funny, but like the industry is tough. It is, but it doesn't have to be. You gotta just,
it's what you make of it.
Yes, and just like stay positive. I really believe in like law of attraction and all that stuff, and controlling your reality with your thoughts. And just believe in yourself and actually like know that you really can do it. I've seen people's lives change overnight. I really have. So it can happen to anybody, and it's something that I'm still working on doing, but I've really truly seen it. It can happen to any of us. And it can happen to all of us because there's room for everybody. So yeah, that's my little nuggets of advice.
So you think that you're not gonna make that much money in the music industry and you're gonna go off and do law school or like health instead?
Yeah.
You can still do it in the music industry if that's what is gonna make you happy.
You should do whatever makes you happy. I believe that. And I told you, like, I worked as a vet tech for like the last year, and it was something like I love animals, but I would go to work and be like, I don't like this. I don't belong here at all. Like, I'm not supposed to be doing this. If you're like called to do something, and even if it's not music, if you're called to do something, you should do it, because anything else that you do is just, it's not gonna like light you up. and life should be fun and life should be easy. Don't make things hard when you don't have to.
So after graduating Thornton School of Music at USC, how do you feel your music career has been impacted, and how has it flourished or changed?
I think it's literally changed like 100%, because when I was just graduating USC, I was in school just to be a vocalist, and I always knew that I wanted to be an artist because I was a singer. So I didn't even know that you could be a songwriter, number one. Mm-hmm. I just like truly, especially with me, I was like, well, maybe other people could, but not me. Like, I've never written a song. I don't do that. I don't even know how to play an instrument. Like, I don't sit at my guitar, my piano all day and write in my diary or do anything like that. So I was just like, oh, that life's like not for me. When I'd written like truly one song in college, and that song was on SoundCloud. And I wrote it with this amazing co-writer, Haley Bowers, and I think she now is teaching songwriting at USC. She was great. She was in my class, and she was somebody that I looked up to. And Sam Veddig, he was the producer. And it was literally like the one song that I had written because I just wanted to be like a part of the songwriting process. And that song went on SoundCloud, and randomly that song was found by an A&R at a publishing company, like a Swedish publishing company, and she found me, signed me to my first pub deal. I was so confused. I was like, what are you, like, I'm a singer, you guys. Like, you, like, for a record deal? They're like, no, for a publishing deal. I was like, okay, like, and then they offered me some money, and I was like, you guys want to pay me to write songs? Like, yeah, of course, I have no money. Like, let's go. So I was so happy, and I did that, but I was still, like, very unsure of myself, and they just kind of threw me in, and from there, like, the rest is history with that. I just kept doing it and got better and better and better, and I think I've really honed my craft. At this point, I'm still always trying to be better, but that part of my career was something that was like totally not in my like sphere of consciousness at all. So that was like an amazing surprise in my life, and I'm very grateful for that. And then I finally just released my artist project like last December, and that's just been amazing because that's my dream and that's my goal. And so it felt really good to have collected these songs over the years and finally like put them out into the world. So I've also even with the songwriting stuff, I've now written like with some of my heroes, like Kesha. Like I was in the room with Kesha, like, writing with her. And she was someone that I loved so much growing up. And I would have never thought when I was like, a teenager listening to TikTok that I would have been like, I'm gonna sit in the room with her and we're gonna write a song together. Like, it was crazy. And then for her to just be like the coolest, most talented angel on earth, you're just like, wow, this is like a surreal experience. And I hear it like truly all the time. So it's just so possible for it to happen to any and all of us that are listening, because it's really true. Again, I will say it, there is room for everybody in this industry.
Never doubt yourself.
Exactly. You got to. It's a lifelong goal. But yeah, try to never doubt. Just believe you can do it, and you can.
Slay. I think that's all my questions.
Oh my God, amazing.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me and doing a little bit. Of course.
My pleasure.
Hi, dog.
Who's this crazy dog that's been causing a ruckus the whole time we've been interviewing?
So cute. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.
Of course,
everyone hit the subscribe button down below.
Wherever it is.
The like button too, if you want to see more crazy, amazing artists like GIGI.
Thanks, Ava.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.